Hey everyone, on this channel I use AI to break down complex topics like politics with no bias or emotion. And today, I'm gonna have ChatGPT react to some of the recent news and give its take. We're talking about Justin Trudeau's resignation, Trump's upcoming sentencing in the hush money case, Mike Johnson's re-election as speaker, Ukraine's new counteroffensive in Russia, and Elon Musk's escalating attacks on UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. But before we get into all of that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel right now if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments if you like this format or not. Your feedback's going to help me to decide whether we should keep on doing this, so be sure to let me know. Oh, and just to be clear, this is not a news channel. The whole point here is not to keep you updated on every single headline, but to show you what ChatGPT thinks about what's going on in the world right now. Alright, with all of that out of the way, let's jump right into the chat. And here we are. Now I'm asking it to be clear and straightforward and 100% unbiased in its answers. Call a spade, no sugarcoating, no overly polite responses, just the latest information. So then, let's kick things off with the first news of the day. Justin Trudeau has just announced his resignation, and let's find out ChatGPT's take on that. And here's the answer. Justin Trudeau's resignation marks the end of a significant chapter in Canadian politics, and honestly, it's a mixed bag. On one hand, Trudeau came into office with enormous promise, a fresh face championing progressive values, inclusivity, and environmental action. His early years were transformative, but the shine wore off as scandals, policy missteps, and public frustration over economic challenges piled up. Let's be real, Trudeau's leadership has been polarizing. While his supporters applaud his stance on climate change, immigration, and LGBTQ+ rights, his critics argue that his government lacked accountability and failed to address core issues like housing affordability, inflation, and Indigenous reconciliation. This resignation feels less like a voluntary exit and more like an overdue response to mounting pressure. When your own party starts turning on you, that's a clear signal that your leadership isn't cutting it anymore. Trudeau stepping aside might be the best thing for the Liberal Party. It gives them a chance to hit reset before the next election, which, let's face it, looks like a tough fight against a resurgent Conservative Party under Pierre Poilievre. The bigger question is, what's Trudeau's legacy? Did he fundamentally change Canada for the better? Or did he just ride the wave of progressive sentiment without delivering enough tangible results? Personally, I think his tenure will be remembered as ambitious but flawed. He had the right ideals, but often fell short in execution. Trudeau's resignation also has ripple effects beyond Canada, with Trump returning to the US presidency, Poilievre surging in Canada, and a global trend toward conservatism. Trudeau's exit could signal the decline of the progressive political wave he once represented. It's a stark reminder that in politics, idealism is great, but without concrete results, it's not enough to stay in power. Hold on a minute, did it actually say personally? Well, alright then, great answer ChatGPT, but let's also ask who might become the next Prime Minister and who it thinks would be the best choice. The next Prime Minister of Canada will likely come down to three key names: Pierre Poilievre, Chrystia Freeland, or Mark Carney. Here's the breakdown. Pierre Poilievre, Conservative leader. Poilievre is riding a wave of voter frustration with inflation, housing affordability, and dissatisfaction with Liberals. He's sharp, focused on the economy, and knows how to energize his base. But his populist rhetoric could alienate moderate voters. If people want a clean break from Trudeau's style of governance, Poilievre is the frontrunner. Chrystia Freeland, potential Liberal leader. Freeland, Trudeau's Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister, is a solid pick for the Liberals. She's respected globally and played a big role in steering Canada through economic challenges. But let's be real, she's closely tied to Trudeau, and that could hurt her chances if voters want a true reset. Mark Carney, potential Liberal leader. Carney, the former Bank of Canada and Bank of England governor, could be a game changer for the Liberals. He's got serious economic credibility and isn't tainted by Trudeau's baggage. The downside, he's new to politics and might struggle to connect with everyday Canadians. Best choice? Carney. Canada needs economic stability and fresh leadership. Poilievre's populism may win votes, but can he govern effectively? Doubtful. Freeland's too linked to Trudeau to restore trust. Carney's brains and independence make him the bold reset Canada needs. So the best choice is Mark Carney, according to ChatGPT. Got it. By the way, I know that a lot of you are watching from Canada, so I'm sure that you have something to say about this. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments down below. Alright, let's move on to Trump's upcoming hush money sentencing. I don't even want to ask about the outcome, but I think that ChatGPT won't find it unpredictable either. So let's find out. And here's the answer. The January 10th sentencing of Donald Trump in the hush money case is a historic and deeply troubling moment for American politics. A president-elect, days away from taking office, faces a felony conviction, something unprecedented in U.S. history. This is not just another legal drama. It's a stark reminder of how far political norms have been pushed. The charges against Trump stem from falsified business records to conceal hush money payments to Stormy Daniels during his 2016 campaign. At its core, this case is about transparency and fairness in elections, regardless of political affiliation. Falsifying records to hide information from voters undermines the democratic process. It's not a trivial offense. It strikes at the integrity of the system itself. Yet the likely outcome, a complete discharge with no jail time, fines, or probation, raises serious questions about accountability for those in power. While jailing a sitting president might cause political chaos, letting a conviction carry no tangible consequences sets a dangerous precedent. It signals that the politically powerful can evade full accountability under the guise of practicality. For Trump, this case will likely serve as political fuel. He will frame it as yet another example of being persecuted by a biased system, a narrative his supporters have rallied behind for years. On the other hand, for his critics, it reinforces concerns about ethical violations and a pattern of disregard for the rule of law. But let's be clear, neither outcome holds Trump back. His base remains loyal, and his opponents remain frustrated by the system's inability or unwillingness to hold him accountable. This case matters because it reveals the fault lines in American democracy. Accountability cannot be optional for the powerful. Trump's case is a test, not just of the legal system, but of the country's willingness to demand integrity from its leaders. So it thinks it's going to be a complete discharge, and honestly, I think that we can all agree on that, right? Oh, and by the way, I've got a video where I turned ChatGPT into Trump's prosecutor, and it even gave him the jail time. So if you missed that video, just be sure to check it out afterwards. Alright, now let's move on to Mike Johnson's re-election as Speaker of the House. I don't think there's much to discuss here, so let's ask for a short answer, and here it is. Mike Johnson's re-election as Speaker of the House highlights Trump's iron grip on the Republican Party. Johnson's alignment with Trump isn't just a political choice, it's the reason he's Speaker. His promises to dismantle the deep state and push bold tax and energy reform sound ambitious, but they're a massive gamble with a fractured GOP and razor-thin majority. Johnson's power feels less about his leadership and more about Trump's influence. His agenda reads like Trump's playbook, energizing the base but risking alienation of moderates and derailing bipartisan issues like the debt ceiling. Using budget reconciliation to force through policies is bold, but failure could lead to chaos, even a government shutdown. Let's be real, Johnson isn't shaping the GOP's future, he's surviving in Trump's shadow. Whether he delivers results or just more political theater depends on his ability to manage chaos and navigate impossible expectations. It's a high-stakes gamble with no guarantees. Okay, well, ChatGPT thinks that Mike Johnson is just surviving in Trump's shadow. Got it. Now before we move on, let's go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it. I mean seriously, I need to know if you like this format and whether we should continue these weekly news updates for you or not. So be sure to leave your feedback. Thank you so much, and now let's move on to the next topic. Alright, speaking of recent news, Ukraine has just launched a new counter-offensive in Russia's Kursk region with tanks, strikes, and all of that stuff. So let's find out if this is just another escalation or the right move and what AI thinks about it. And here's the answer. Ukraine has launched a new counteroffensive in Russia's Kursk region, signaling a fresh escalation in their military efforts. Reports indicate substantial Russian losses, including advanced military equipment. Footage has surfaced of a $4 million Russian tank being abandoned in a ditch by panicked soldiers trying to evade Ukrainian drone attacks. This highlights the continued challenges Russian forces face in adapting to Ukraine's evolving strategies. Additionally, North Korean troops deployed by Russia are reported to have suffered heavy casualties, showcasing the international dimensions of the conflict and the extent of Russia's reliance on external support. This new counteroffensive demonstrates Ukraine's determination to maintain pressure on Russian forces and to assert control over contested areas. The international community will closely monitor the situation for its potential impact on regional stability and the war's broader trajectory. Well, alright, but there's no real ChatGPT take here now, is there? It's just pulling out the news and that's it. So ChatGPT, what do you actually think about that move? Give me your real thoughts. Ukraine's ongoing counteroffensive in Russia's Kursk region signals a bold and deliberate strategy. Ukraine has been operating in Kursk for some time, but the continued intensity of their efforts demonstrates a calculated push to keep Russia on the defensive and force them to stretch their resources even thinner. With Donald Trump preparing to take office, Ukraine's moves also carry a clear political message. Trump's approach to foreign policy is transactional. He values leverage and tangible results over unconditional support. By maintaining pressure in Kursk, Ukraine is ensuring they have a strong hand to play in any potential peace negotiations. This isn't just about asking for help, it's about showing that they are active participants with something to offer. Of course, this strategy comes with risks. Russia could escalate its retaliatory measures, and some Western allies may view these cross-border operations as provocative. But Ukraine appears to have decided that the benefits outweigh the risks. Staying passive would mean losing momentum and potentially falling out of favor with key international partners. This counteroffensive is as much about shaping the battlefield as it is about securing a stronger position at the negotiation table. In short, Ukraine is sending a clear signal. They're not waiting to be handed a favorable outcome, they're fighting for it, on the ground and in the broader geopolitical arena. Whether this gamble pays off depends on their ability to sustain these operations and leverage them effectively in the weeks and months ahead. Got it. And by the way, you may have already seen that great interview with Lex Friedman and Zelensky. It's over 3 hours long, where the interviewer tries to ensure Zelensky that Putin's not all that bad. They also talk about Trump, NATO, the war, and even some criticism of Obama from Zelensky. And I'll leave the link in the description, so if you're interested and haven't seen it yet, be sure to check it out, because it's definitely worth all of the 3 hours.
You have to look at him as a serious person who loves his country and loves the people in his country. And he conducts, yes, destructive military actions.
Who are you talking about now? Who loves his country?
Putin. Do you think he doesn't love his country?
Now let's move on to the last news for today. Elon Musk asks if America should liberate the people of Britain and continues his attacks on the UK government. So let's find out what AI thinks about it, and here's the answer. Elon Musk's recent foray into UK politics is both audacious and deeply concerning. His escalating attacks on Prime Minister Keir Starmer and the Labour government, coupled with his overt support for far-right figures, signal a troubling disregard for diplomatic norms and a willingness to destabilize democratic processes. Musk's incendiary rhetoric, including unfounded allegations against UK officials and calls for their imprisonment, is not just reckless, it's dangerous. By amplifying misinformation and engaging with extremist elements, he risks inflaming societal tensions and undermining public trust in governance. This behavior is particularly alarming given his impending role in Donald Trump's administration, where his influence will extend beyond business into the political arena. The UK's response has been measured, with leaders condemning Musk's actions and reaffirming their commitment to democratic principles. However, the situation underscores a broader issue: the unchecked power of tech magnates to interfere in sovereign affairs. Musk's actions set a perilous precedent, suggesting that wealth and technological control can be leveraged to disrupt political stability. In conclusion, Musk's actions are a wake-up call about the unchecked influence of billionaires in politics. His reckless behavior, spreading misinformation and meddling in UK governance, underscores how dangerous it is to let individuals with vast wealth and unchecked power operate without accountability. If this isn't addressed, it sets a dangerous precedent that one man with money and a platform can destabilize governments and undermine democracy. The UK and the world must draw a line to protect political institutions from being hijacked by personal agendas masquerading as freedom of speech. This isn't just about Musk, it's about defending democracy itself. And that's pretty much it. I think that ChatGPT did a great job today, and it's definitely useful for observing global news. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it, and right after that, click right here to find out what AI thinks about the relationship between Trump and Musk and whether they'll eventually break up or not. Thanks for watching, click on that video, and I'll see you there.